Greetings, miscellaneous denizens of the interwebs. Today we are having a belated look at the launch trailer for Rise of the Tomb Raider. This is the new game starring Lara Croft. It is exclusive to the Xbox One until early next year when it becomes available for PC, and apparently the PlayStation 4 Brigade aren't getting it until late 2016. Ouch for them. Anyway, without further ado, let's take a quick look at this and I'll let you know what I think afterwards. Toodaloo!
My dearest Lara, I often think about the shame I have brought upon our family's name. Croft, what does it even mean?
When I was young, it was just my father and I. In his last years, he was obsessed with myths about immortality.
I may have found the next piece to the puzzle, but they're following me. I know them by name now. Trinity.
Of course, no one believed him, including me.
It's me. Hannah, I'm so sorry. Dad was right. The tomb's in Syria. Syria? This is madness.
As I walk through frozen sands, through flames of burning lands, my feet are torn, they're torn to strands. I will not thirst.
And I saw something. I realized my father was right.
Who the hell are you?
I suspect you already know.
Trinity.
They're calling out, they're calling out my name.
I led them to it, Jonah. The divine source is real. We've got to find it first.
Siberia it is then.
Listen to me. Someday, you're going to make such a mark on this world.
Again and again.
Well, for those who for some strange reason are still listening, that was the last trailer, the launch trailer for Rise of the Tomb Raider. I was a big fan of the last game. I think it's an excellent example of taking a franchise that had been a bit overworked. I think Tomb Raider, particularly back during the kind of PlayStation 1 era, was a bit overworked. There were a few too many games, particularly that were really kind of hitting their heads against the technological limitations of the original PlayStation. And I think by the time the PlayStation 2 came out, there was already some franchise fatigue, making Tomb Raider franchise a sort of an early example of what I think is a big problem with Assassin's Creed in particular, with these annualized franchises. And of course the games in the PlayStation 2 were, well, they ranged from quite literally from mediocre to out and out train wreck terrible. And the franchise, and it's one of the most iconic game characters and game franchises to come out of Europe, particularly in the 1990s. And I would say, you know, almost as, you know, it was in its day, at its peak, as well known and as recognized as the Grand Theft Auto series is today. You had, again, the movies based on it, you know, they had Angelina Jolie in them, certainly very nice to look at, but they weren't great films. But still, it was at one time, it was a very major franchise with a lot of kind of name recognition, and because of mismanagement of the franchise, very poor quality control on the PlayStation during the kind of PlayStation 2 / GameCube / Xbox era, resulted in the franchise taking an awful lot of damage. And Eidos and Square Enix really did have a major mountain to climb in rebuilding, or beginning the process of rebuilding the franchise, with the previous, the reboot of the Tomb Raider series with the previous game, the predecessor to this one. And I think they did really, really well. I mean, it's effectively, you know, to put it succinctly, it's kind of Lara Croft meets Uncharted, and I found it immensely enjoyable game. The combat was great. I think it had one of the best cover systems in any third-person game I've ever played, including the Gears of War series, and that you didn't have to press a button to actually get into cover and stuff. It was dynamic and context sensitive. If there were no bad guys around, you couldn't get stuck in cover or anything else like that. It was really well put together. And from what I've seen and what I've heard online so far, no reviews have come out yet. But from what I've seen and what I've heard online, the indicators are that they've really built on what the people who liked the first game liked about this one. Apparently there's no multiplayer, great, put in the resources where they're supposed to be. And so this may well end up being a game better than the first one, which would be, to my mind, it would be a bloody excellent, even dare I say it, fantastic game. The problem, of course, is, well, one, it's an Xbox One exclusive, and in my neck of the woods, next-gen console games are absorbently expensive. I mean, I think if you're in the US, you'll probably still be paying $60 for your video games, but here, I don't know if it's in the rest of the Eurozone, but in Ireland, it's €70. Which is a damn sight more than $60, I can tell you, to buy this digitally on ye olden Xbone. And it's not available on PC till early next year, which of course means it'll miss the Steam sales, holiday sales. There's no chance the game getting a discounted, 20 or 30 quid or something like that would allow me to get it cheap on PC. So right now I'm a bit, or should I say, I'm a bit up in the air as to how and or when will I get this. Will I wait for the PC version? Will I get it on Xbox One? So right now I'm not quite sure when I'm going to get it. I'm definitely going to get it, but I'm just not quite sure when. And this is particularly exacerbated by the fact that, and I don't know what possessed Square Enix, who are, the head honchos, they own Eidos. What possessed Eidos to do this, but they are releasing, Eidos / Square Enix, they are releasing Rise of the Tomb Raider the exact same day Fallout 4 is coming out. Now, it is true, the last Tomb Raider game, as I said already, I think was a huge success. It's did an awful lot to rebuild the brand, but it's still a work in progress. And frankly, the Bethesda RPGs, Fallout 3 I think has sold, or maybe Skyrim has sold over 20 million units, or maybe it's both of them. But particularly starting with Elder Scrolls Skyrim, I think over time Fallout 3 sold a significant number of copies over time. On consoles, I'm sure a lot of copies were resold and resold again and again, secondhand, and lent to friends and so on. And Skyrim was a huge built upon, I think, the success and the word of mouth of Fallout 3 and was a huge success for the company. And I think the Bethesda RPGs are now much more mainstream, as it were, if you want to use that term and that stereotype, than they were at the beginning of the last console generation when Elder Scrolls Oblivion came out. And I think there's going to be an awful lot more kind of mainstream attention from kind of core and hardcore gamers towards Fallout 4 than a lot of people, I think, are expecting. And the major kind of consequence of that, the vital consequence of that, is I think Tomb Raider, again, the last game was very good, but it's still a work in progress to rebuild the brand and rebuild the esteem of the IP. And I think the Tomb Raider, or Rise of the Tomb Raider, will find it somewhat difficult to get attention on its launch day when you've got Fallout 4, which is effectively the direct sequel to the by Bethesda of the now legendary Fallout 3. I know, yes, there was Fallout New Vegas, but that was made by Obsidian, and there were a variety of issues, mostly bugs with that game when it first came out. They were fixed over time, but I've never played it. So my view on this particular matter is that I don't think they're gonna have trouble. I think they're estimating, people who want to play in a Bethesda RPG, they're a relatively small minority compared to people like third-person shooters and want to play Tomb Raider. I think they're underestimating how much of a reputation the Bethesda role-playing games have built up since the start of the last generation of consoles, the 360 and the PlayStation 3, and I think they're underestimating the amount of work they still have to do to rebuild and rehabilitate the Tomb Raider brand after the last game. It was successful, but it was the first, in my view, it was the first step, the first stage in creating a new recreating or re-establishing the Tomb Raider brand as a major one, and the Tomb Raider franchise as a major game franchise. And, well, to put it very succinctly, and of course, from a sales standpoint, the Fallout 4 is going to be on everything, PC, Xbone and PS4. Tomb Raider is Xbone only, so that will limit sales as well, obviously. So, but more importantly, even if it's a really, really good game, even if it's a 9 out of 10 or even a 9.5 out of 10, unless Bethesda really screws up and misses the kind of upward trend their games have been on in terms of reviews, starting with Elder Scrolls Oblivion, and in terms of their RPGs, I'd say Fallout 4 is a good chance. Well, certainly it would be pretty gobsmacking if it wasn't a 9 out of 10 game. It'll probably be a 10 out of 10, and I think it'll potentially be the biggest selling franchise this holiday season, because it's one of the first really true big profile next gen or current gen games to come out. Batman was a mess on PC earlier this year. Assassin's Creed Syndicate clearly which is again released on every platform under the sun, was certainly outperformed in the UK by Halo 5, which is on Xbox One only, which shows you a degree of franchise fatigue is really beginning to set in there. And of course, the last game, Unity, has made potential customers somewhat risk averse, and is maybe of taking a wait and see attitude to see how the game it looks a week or two or even a month after it's come out, see if it's as messy as Unity was or isn't, one way or the other. I think Fallout 4 could go down as maybe, again, Black Ops 3 is out, and will be coming out, and that'll probably do very, very well as well. But I think Fallout 4 has the potential to be the real big success story of this Christmas, and launching Tomb Raider on the exact same day, a game that will appeal to there'll be a significant, I think, an awful lot more overlap between the two games in terms of who it appeals to than what Square Enix and Eidos believe/anticipate, and it may end up hurting sales. And with it not being out on PC this Christmas, there's no potential for post-Christmas, say January, 25th of December, 26th, 27th of December, during the last part of the kind of Steam holiday sales, of them cutting price to by 10 or 15 or 20 quid to drive sales, the way they did, I think, with the previous game to a degree as well. So, and again, my PC, I've not got that many games that I bought specifically for the Xbox One. If I've got a multi-platform title, I tend to buy it on PC. I tend to buy my RPGs and my third-person shooters on console during the 360 era, but considering the kind of performance gap between the Xbone and my PC and the Xbone and the PS4, and I don't have a PS4, I just go typically with PC. The bulk of the Xbox One games I've got are ones I got for free with Games of Gold, which is a fantastic service, and I really should play more of them and put videos of me playing them on my channel, and I should get around to that hopefully in the new year, plus finally getting around to playing Alien Isolation, which I got on Black Friday sales for cheap for the Xbox One. Still haven't gotten around to playing yet. I know I'm a total and utter idiot, and I got all the DLC content for it as well. So it's I think this is the second or third time I've mentioned that fact that I haven't played Alien Isolation yet, even though I've now had it for almost a year. Very stupid of me. Anyway, I don't want to be going on for too long, but yeah, I'm very interested in this game. The last one was great. This one could be, fantastic. Another side note, Uncharted 4 is out early next year on PS4. That will likely be Tomb Raider will likely be compared to a very significant degree with Uncharted 4, either favourably or unfavourably, so we'll have to wait and see. Again, because this is for the time being a Xbox One exclusive, I would imagine this will look very good in Xbox One. A lot of, hard work and programmers sweat putting in to make it as, well performing and as stable and as nice looking on the Xbox One as possible. But whether I buy, I can't see myself buying it the same day I get Fallout 4, and if I were to do so, it certainly wouldn't get played for a day or two. In terms of my plans vis-a-vis Fallout 4 on my channel, I'm going to be doing, there's a video just up for the Fallout 4 launch trailer is just up, so I'm going to have a look at that and do one of these and let you know what my plans for Fallout 4 are at the end of that. So, this is turning out to be somewhat longer a video than I'd originally planned. My apologies. But as I said, I'm very interested in it, but it's very, very... I would want to put at least a week, if not two, between me and the launch of Fallout 4, and I think they may be heading for a bit of a disaster with this if with, again, only on the Xbox One at launch, until PC, not for a year until it's on PS4, and there's a very big install base gap between the two current gen consoles. So certainly for me, next week is Fallout 4, and more Fallout 4. Both in terms of my game playing time and in terms of what will be on my channel. So this is, again, I don't want to keep going on and on. This is Defub21, and this is a longer video than I anticipated. If you enjoyed it, please let me know your views in the comments, whether you're going to be buying this game or not. And take a look at my channel if you like what you see here, and if you like what you see on my channel, feel free to subscribe. This is Defub21 signing off. Toodaloo.